Good afternoon. Hopefully it is a good one for you. Temperatures are generally speaking in the 30s across our area. Once you get into northern New York, yeah, some 20s around. But look at Chicago all the way up to 52 degrees. Kind of nice. High pressure and control, not much in the way of widespread cloud cover anywhere except for where the system is sliding off towards the south and east, and a little bit of that very minor lake effect south of Buffalo. We have a pretty good look over the last several hours of the lakes. You can see some cloud cover pushing on in across Lake Huron into Lake Michigan, but a lot of areas that you can see some of that ice. Southern Lake Huron, much of Lake Erie iced over, a decent chunk of southern Lake Ontario, far eastern Lake Ontario. You can see all the snow and ice on the land, Michigan, northern Indiana through Ohio into New York as well, but much more in the way of clear ground off west of Lake Michigan. This system this weekend is going to be a tricky one where we're going to have an area where we do think there's going to be at least a mix or a wet snow, but it's going to be very marginal, and exactly how far north that gets is going to be a little bit up in the air, but somewhere around the Baltimore, Philly, New York City area will be a little bit of that mix. Impacts should be very minor regardless. Staying cold and dry to the north. You can see from these different system maps of the different models showing this weekend opinion, most of them not having anywhere in the form of snowy precipitation, but a tricky system. We want to keep at least that chance in because it's marginal and it's low confidence at this point, but risks and impacts not huge. Here comes the first system that we do know about, and this is going to affect some areas, and mainly New York State. You can see that dripping on down here late this evening and early overnight for Syracuse. It'll move on in through the Albany area within a few hour period, and then get into portions of Connecticut, maybe a little bit into New York City, a little bit into Long Island, northeastern Pennsylvania. Not going to be a big deal. Cold front moves through. A few scattered flurries and light snow showers will be around with that. Tiny lake effect bands into Syracuse as we go into the late night on Saturday, and then we watch for this system moving on through. For your Sunday, you can see on the northern half, it is showing on this computer model just plain rain and keeping it Philadelphia and south. Any of the moderate rain well into Virginia and North Carolina with a warm front associated with that dry, Ohio, much of Pennsylvania, and much of New York. Yeah, so this model doesn't really have anything into Philadelphia, New York City. So it's tough. Again, I think there's just going to be a little bit of mix and wintry precipitation. I shouldn't really be much in the way of impacts with that. Shouldn't is the key word. Next system after that, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Snowfall for this first system dropping into Syracuse, about a good solid inch. Isolated spots of about 2 inches where you get a little bit of enhancement off of Lake Ontario. And then we're going to see probably a little coating at the most, Saratoga Springs into Albany, closer to an inch around Utica, dropping down into portions of eastern Pennsylvania, a good half an inch or so in a few spots, but like New York City into portions of the lower Hudson Valley into Long Island. I mean, we're talking about barely a dusting or a coating. That would be it. It's going to be a much warmer pattern as we push on through next week again, as it kind of gets its act together across the middle portion of the country and the south, and it will push further off in towards the east and northeast. At that point, you can see some pretty mild temperatures at times, especially that middle to end of next week before a cold front comes through. What does that translate to? Well, it translates to temperatures well into the 40s and the 50s at times, with maybe 25 to 30 being the lows, about as cold as we're going to go. You go down further into the Tennessee Valley and south, you see widespread 70s. But yeah, lots of 40s and 50s will be around at times, and it looks like the warmest period will be that Wednesday through Friday, where we could push some 60s up into maybe the Ohio Valley, into portions of the Mid-Atlantic. The next system after this one for the weekend will be on later Tuesday into the portions of the Northern Plains back into the Northern Great Lakes. This is really going to depend on track. Some models take this and shove it down across New York State and much of New England and actually develop it into a pretty good system that could produce a few to several inches. This solution keeps it further off towards the north, just bringing some mix of rain showers into any of those areas. So it's just honestly something to watch for the middle portion of next week. There probably will be at least a little bit of minor snowfall before maybe another bigger rain system moves on into a lot of our area, and then maybe some snow on the northern side a week out. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's going to be pretty snowy across the west with the mountain snow. Finally, they need it. And then we'll keep an eye on that one system that could move across North Dakota, Minnesota, through Michigan into portions of New York State and Boston as we go on through a week out from now. But again, several days, plenty of time to watch it. So very low confidence on that system as well. The only system we have really high confidence on is the one coming on through later tonight into tomorrow. There will be above average amounts of precipitation, though likely in a pretty decent corridor, including all of our area pretty much, at least a little bit above average. Next week's mild. I got to get Mr. Heat Miser out of there. Toss him off towards the west where he belongs, right? Or a Snow Miser, I should say. Definitely going to be a pattern that is kind of flippy floppy. We'll get back into cold at some point late this month. It might oscillate a little bit. Maybe it settles in more by mid-March. Obviously, this time of year, big changes in terms of average temperatures. So big cold blasts in 2 or 3 weeks are going to be a lot less significant than what we had a week or two ago. Take care. Have a great weekend.